She is someone who is confident but has doubts. She loves the world but gets sick of people. She's open to new things and ideas, but often very comfortable in what currently exists. She's a tempered radical. She is a combination of various tensions that I think come across as very genuine and authentic. At least that's what I strive for. I value my relationships that I do have with people, and those are the relationships that shape me. I was raised as a Southern girl in the church. I was a church musician for a little while. I was raised to be a person that represented my family well, and that was very important to us. Education, education, education. That was the one thing that they taught me. No one could ever take away from you. And I come from a ridiculously well-educated family, and I say that because it's taken me this long to really appreciate that. In my mother's siblings, you have a teacher, a guidance counselor, a doctor, and a lawyer. And not many people have access to education. My grandparents worked very hard to make sure their children valued it. My grandmother being in the classroom during integration and having white students come in to a space where she was the figure of authority. That's something that, those values, the principles of appreciation, understanding the worth in one's own self-worth, and understanding that the head of your life needs to be a power that's not a man. You're in the world, but you're not of the world. So that was always something at my core. And of course, I can tell you that I was a debutante. I remember getting my first pearls and posing for those cotillion pictures. But I also remember chasing the hogs around with pitchforks because they always got out of pins. So I always knew that I was going to be a doctor someday, but not a medical one, because the MD and the whole blood thing, I would faint. But I knew I wanted to be an educator in some capacity. Currently, I serve as the Associate Director of Undergraduate Studies for the Department of Communication at Clemson University. And what's fun about my role is I get to work with students and families, those that are prospective and those currently with us, as well as after they graduate. I love being a source of insight, information, as well as mentorship and advisement. So everything from those first steps through the academic roadmap, helping them navigate, helping students navigate what it is that they're supposed to be doing, why they're even in the department. What is communication going to do for them? What's that return on investment, particularly for our comm majors, because they're on a campus where STEM education makes a lot more sense. And here we are, a small department, making really big waves with our students that I'm really proud of. I also oversee the academic initiatives for the Erwin Center for Brand Communications. And in that capacity, I actually liaise between the namesake for the center, the faculty that do teach in that center, which are unique. They are people who come from industry and are on our campus teaching courses in what they do on a daily basis, which our students enjoy tremendously. And I help shape what that center looks like as it moves forward, as it's very, very young. And then on the side, I have a communication consulting business, and a part of that is pageant consulting. So I do a lot of work with our local chapter of Pi Alpha, Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and I coach the young women who want to go through that pageant system, as well as work with different organizations and corporations actually in the upstate for professional communication assistance. And whenever they call me in, it's usually to help people move up the management chain. So right now I could say I'm on campus, I have a foot on campus, I have a foot in the development world, as well as the professional communication world. I want to believe that I've always thought one's reputation, and how one carries himself is of the utmost importance. Optics, it's all about optics, and understanding that despite having a doctorate, despite having a wealth of knowledge in my arsenal, despite being able to get along well with people and having the personality that I do, I still walk into every space as a Black woman from the South. And all of the other identities I carry come in way before my intellectual respectability and whatever other body politics are at play. So I do believe that emphasis on education being something one can never take away from you, but not necessarily being a great equalizer as it once was, plays deeply into what I currently do, because I want to help every student realize their potential, but I do take special mentoring obligations to those that I see myself in. And I do mean the students of color or the young women who come into these spaces like a university system and it's very new for them and they have to figure it out. So for me, I think that importance is understanding who you are and what's going to help you achieve greatness, and that greatness can lead to success. Success on its own, you may not be great, but to be great, you are fully realized and actualized as to who you are and what you can contribute. Honestly, there are days when I can walk around this campus and not see anyone who looks like me. And that is in my professional world. And in my private life, I can also do the same. Unless I look in a mirror, I may not see anyone who looks like me. Now, I do understand that that's the role that I chose to put myself in, given where I am in life and geographically. However, in building relationships, I decided early on that becoming a member of my sorority was going to be of the utmost importance. I don't have any siblings, so being part of a sisterhood and learning what it actually meant to be a part of a sisterhood was something that I'm still growing in and hoping to take on more leadership roles in, because that mentorship and being around women who have been there, who have stories, who have insight, who have wisdom, is something I lean on heavily, because there are days that you'll feel weak, that you will feel the weight of the world on you, and those women will help me get through. And so I'd say professionally, personally, in every aspect of my life, I think we all play a different kind of role. Just because someone has a skin tone that happens to have more melanin in it does not mean that they're there for you, right? You have to get to know people. You can't treat Blackness as monolithic, and in doing the work to understand who is around you and who can be a part of your support system, I think we gain more appreciation for the women of color. And so actively pursuing those relationships, I think, makes me a better person. I'm getting inundated in my mind with all of these grand ideals. I want to be great and recognized for being great. I wouldn't mind some sort of honor, Oprah level status with mermaids in my backyard. Like, I would love my legacy to be someone who was so well esteemed, but honestly that doesn't seem to fit with what I actually want, which is I want to leave a legacy and be known and a model for someone who served with love, who led with love, and who believed in the least with love. I think this world is too full of people who are self-focused, they're too internal, and that's why we have this era of selfies and we have social media dedicated to shaping and creating a life that we've cultivated, that we want other people to think that we are a certain way. But for me, I want to live authentically, and living authentically, I hope to be someone who is spoken of as genuine, maybe not the happiest and bubbliest, I didn't have all the best jokes, but you knew that I cared about you. And if I said I cared about you and I loved you and I worked with you in any capacity, that you knew I was always there, and I would always be there and do whatever I could to make sure your life was improved by me being in it. While you may know me as Dr. Lori Pindar, I'm also known in the streets as Baby Stacks. That's BABY $TAKS, okay? And you can find me on SoundCloud. I have dope rhymes and 5 beats, okay?